Imagine getting £1,600 every month for 2 years and you don't have to do anything for it. What would you be willing to give up in order to get this free money? Well, 30 people in the UK have this exact question to answer. A think tank company called Autonomy are giving 30 people £1,600 every month for 2 years to see how it will affect their physical and mental health. I've been talking for quite some time about how universal basic income is the precursor to the loss of sovereignty among individuals.
They're giving us money. Inflation obviously is going to go up as a result. I wasn't clicking onto all of that stuff the way I am now. But what they did see in doing all of that, all of those payments to people for free, is that people were really willing to accept that money and happy to put it back into the economy. And so in 10 years, I fully, completely see the narrative that they will push on a few fronts. First of all, they'll push the narrative that, back in 2022 and 2023, the economy crashed and this was terrible for us. So we introduced CBDCs because the one problem that we had back in 2022 and 2023 is that the economy wasn't being stimulated enough. And there's only one way to stop the economy ever crashing again, ever. And that is by this new initiative that we have where we give you $30,000 or pounds, whatever it is, every year, and you have to do nothing. All we ask you to do is redistribute that money back into the economy by spending all the money we give you. We'll give you a 31-day time limit on all the money that you have, and you can go and spend it every single month, inject the money into the economy again, and we'll never have a crash again.
If this pilot after 2 years is successful, which it will be, universal basic income will be spread to a larger and larger size group. And I think at some point, everyone will have this universal basic income that will be given to you by the government. You might even have time limits on the money, meaning you have to spend it to stimulate the economy so we don't end up in another COVID economic collapse type thing. And so we give you the money. You don't need to own anything because we just give you the money. You will be happy not owning anything. You also won't own yourself. What people don't understand is that this money that you're going to be using will be programmed. How do I know that? Well, the technology that I talk about on this channel and all the good that it can do is the technology that I believe is going to be used in this new system. More than that, I've researched hundreds, if not thousands of hours on this topic. And because the asset that I talk about so much in this channel is the perfect fit, and the partnerships are all there with the government, we have the key players interacting with this company, it's completely known in this space that this currency, the CBDC, that will ultimately be the universal basic income currency that everyone will get sent, can be programmed.
This is, we're calling it condition-based payments. You might call it programmable money or programmable payments. But the idea here, the notion here is that you enable payments to be made, when certain conditions are made. So, a certain, something's delivered, at a doorstep or something, whatever the criteria is. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on the next few charts. That will allow the payment to be made, right? So that is a very efficient, sort of automation, if you like, compared to the way things happen today.
Have you heard of 15-minute cities? Have you heard of Aldi blocking people from coming in unless they verify something just to buy some food so they can eat? Remember lockdown?
You must stay at home.
Lockdown, that moment where they said you can't go outside, stay inside, forcing people to do what the government says. This was the biggest test of all. So first comes the compliance test. Will everyone comply? Will everyone wear face masks? Will everyone stay indoors when we tell them? The answer, a resounding yes. Okay, well, let's take this a step further. Will they accept payment from the government, no strings attached, but secretly that person loses their sovereignty? Well, that's being received with a resounding yes again. Of course. The average Joe, the Jane Doe, doesn't think about these things. They think, and I've discussed this with people at my old job, you'd say, would you accept £30,000 a year for free from the government? They say, yeah, absolutely. And this is the common thought among the common people. But where does this stop? Does it stop at testing with 30 people, a UBI system? Does it stop at 15-minute cities? with programmable money not allowing you to spend your money outside of your 15-minute radius if there is another lockdown? Does it stop at an agenda limitation? Let's say it's a net zero. What if you want to buy a gasoline car and it's programmable money? Will they let you do it? What if you want to travel to see family and they don't want you traveling to that country? At what point will people wake up? And slowly, under the guise of we're helping combat AI technology by all the jobs that will be lost, we're giving people new freedoms to be creative and add new skills to their artillery, to take away your freedom, to take away your choice. We predicted on this channel that universal basic income was coming, and in my own homeland, here it is, the pilot to the real thing. And here's why I know it will work. The 2 locations that they're going for to test this out, 15 people in each location, are Jarrow in the northeast of England and East Finchley in London. 2 areas that typically are home to low-income families. Typically, you will also find people who don't have the best health because maybe they don't have the best means to pay for more expensive food. There's lots of social factors in there. But what I can guarantee you, and is the basis for this to continue from a pilot into the real thing, is getting data as to whether it helps the people in those areas, helps their mental health. And I can tell you the answer. It's going to be massive success. Everyone's going to be mentally perfect, in an ignorant bliss about the idea that they're getting paid £1,600 a month for free for 2 years. They've set this pilot up to succeed because of the parameters and the data points that they are looking for the result in. If it's mental health, that's obviously going to go up. And they've picked these places very specifically. Let me just get into some stats here. Jarrow, 41% of the children aged 0 to 19 years old are in relative low-income families in central Jarrow, compared with 29% across northeast. So they're almost, on all of these metrics, doubly in as bad position as the rest of the northeast of the country. I'll go into some more stats. 26% of the people have limiting long-term illnesses in central Jarrow compared to 22% regionally. 33% of the people have no qualifications in central Jarrow compared to 26% in the northeast. And the northeast typically is also a very high percentage versus the rest of the country. Just to put that in context for everyone. 16.4% of people who are working age in Jarrow claim workless benefits compared to the average for the region, which is 10.5%. These people already take lots from the state. 17.2% of people claim personal independence payments compared with 11% across the northeast. They're picking a region of the country where people are most worst off, and then going even further into that, niching down into an area of the northeast that's doing worse than even the northeast. Then giving those individuals the universal basic income and putting it under the disguise of, let's see how it goes. And we're only going to see this expand in the near future. Please, when you see things on the news that are positive about universal basic income or about this pilot, please understand that with everything good that it sounds like, there's an underlying equally and perhaps even more powerful negative side to that. Don't underestimate and don't devalue your sovereignty as an individual. And for all of those who automatically thought this is not a good idea, it's inevitable, but it's bad for the individual, let me just show you how rare you are as a person. Universal basic income is a good idea. They tested 100 people and asked these questions. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? 76% of people said the basic income was a good idea. 3 people said it was a bad idea. And you'll know that that doesn't add up to 100, but 14 people said that universal basic income is a good idea, but this entity should have other priorities other than this trial. And 8 people said it's a bad idea and you should have other priorities. So adding up all of the negative ones, you come to 11% of individuals said this was a bad idea. You are in that 11%. Not only that, you hold the assets that will grant you the most sovereignty in the future too. So if you thought holding XRP, for example, was being in the 1% of the 1% that own crypto, you can knock that percentage way further down. You are a very special individual. Do your absolute best to share this video with people who don't know or haven't been enlightened, and try to enlighten these people yourself. Awaken them from the craziness that is being orchestrated behind the scenes here. Try to stay emotionless, and I'll see you in the next one.